I think we just need to be sharp enough to catch it before maa ke haath ka thappad.
And they live in these huge ass houses and drive the biggest of cars, and they are so famous and so successful. I find it to be such a big failure. Given my love in all the wrong places, it's given me nothing but taken away from me.
Absolutely. We're only projecting. And this is also one of the bases of cancel culture. One story, one downfall, one epic comeback. This is not a podcast. This is an uncancellation ritual because we don't believe in cancellation. Welcome to Cancelled to Crowned with Sohini. In today's episode, we have the phoenix herself. The less I say, the more it is. Sonam Chhabra. Sonam, philanthropist, anchor, actor, daughter, you're all of it. You are a beautiful package. And I love that I call you package, by the way. And before we step into all of you, I want to start with the roots of you. Who was Sonam as a child? And what were her dreams and her aspirations, her fears? Tell me all of it.
Thank you so much for having me. First of all, you look great.
You too. Thank you.
So the little Sonam was like very, very introverted, um, the class topper, always wanted to please her mother, a very good child. But I also had like a very creative side to me. I would learn Bharatnatyam, Kathak. I loved dancing. I loved creating art. I was a very good artist. Although where I came from, Sohini, we never dared to dream of being a creative professional. You know, for us, putting food on the table was more important. My father ran a very small bookshop near my school, and mama was a housewife, and all she wanted was for her daughter to grow up, get a degree, and just, um, do well at her workplace. So yeah, that was the little girl. But I feel like creative dreams were always buried somewhere inside me.
Hmm. What was the point that your creative dreams took forefront to a point where you had no choice but to face them?
I didn't have the courage, Sohini. I feel like the courage to pursue what you want is not only about mental courage. It is also about resources.
Yes.
And we really lagged in resources. We were living in a very small one room apartment, and which was not ours, and we did not dare to dream of being a creative professional or being in a job that does not have a monthly pay, you know.
Wow.
So I was studying to be a chartered accountant. I topped school and I went to one of the best colleges on a scholarship. And everybody knew that she's going to pick up a job and she's going to support her family because my path was set. But then one day in college, there was the college festival. In DU, they have these huge festivals. So my college, Hansraj, we had the festival and the MC didn't turn up. And God bless that MC. She did not turn up and she just ditched us last minute. And I was in the student organizing committee and I was literally serving water backstage.
Wow.
I was in my chappals, my brother's t-shirt, oversized t-shirt, one of those little college girls doing her thing. And they said, hey, the MC is not here and the singer is here and somebody has to introduce. And I was like, don't look at me. Don't look at me, guys. I am in my chappals. Like, for God's sake, don't do this. They said, no, you're the only girl in the committee. Now go save us.
Wow.
And I just picked up the mic for the first time. And from then, I could never escape how much I loved it.
This is such a powerful story. It so clearly represents how a render is so important because man proposes, God disposes. I mean, sometimes our plans are just set, and if we flow, we can actually reach our highest selves. And that happened with you. How did it feel the first time you picked up that mic in those oversized clothes and those chappals?
I was very embarrassed of what I was wearing. Sohini, I was in one of the top colleges of Delhi University, where children of bureaucrats and entrepreneurs and some really high profile kids were studying. I came literally from the slums. My brother and I had 2 t-shirts, and we would exchange it one day he would wear one day I would wear one. I was very embarrassed, okay, of what I was wearing and how I was looking and stuff. But then when I picked up the mic and I started talking, I was always good at talking. I mean, you can tell.
You're incredible.
You can
You're
tell.
incredible.
I love it. So I was always good at connecting with people. And the moment I picked up the mic, oh my God, I'm getting goosebumps right now. The moment I picked up the mic, I moved the crowd in the direction that I wanted, and there were 10,000 students there. And they were talking my language, and they were saying what I wanted them to say. And that is the day I discovered, oh my God, I can do this.
Wow.
So yeah, that was a special day.
Wow, that's so incredible. We have these notions about what we should be to be that, or to fit in, or to be accepted. But you went up in your rawest form and managed to touch the hearts of everyone out there. That is a representation of how true you were to yourself in that moment, and you probably didn't even know it.
I mean, as a child, I never knew
Yeah.
what being true to yourself is really. And I feel like as kids, as teenagers, I feel like all of us are more raw and more real. But as conditioning takes over time, over years, and then society and people near us, and people start getting jobs, and then there are hierarchies, and then there are brands. I feel like all that comes into play.
Yeah.
I really miss that rawness. It's still there, but I really miss how as kids we were all really real, like you said.
Unabashed, right?
Unabashed, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you feel that there's anything you would like to unlearn or have unlearned in terms of your emotional patterns that holds you back?
I've unlearned people pleasing. I've learned to please myself.
I love that.
I have learned to please others less. I have learned to be my authentic self. It has come after a lot of processing and therapy and hard work.
Yeah.
But I love the fact that I don't please anybody other than myself. It does not mean I'm rude. It does not mean I'm not kind or I'm not compassionate to others' feelings. But I don't please anyone anymore. I don't fit into what they want me to be.
Wow. Does it mean that you have completely abandoned self-abandonment?
Not completely. I have a long way to go, but I love where I'm going. I love my direction. I am not fitting into people's version of myself anymore. They can live with the old version of me. I am evolving.
How beautiful. But your authenticity does come through. It comes through with full force. And it's amazing to watch that. To meet someone who's unguarded, unlayered, yet cannot be exploited. And that comes through.
I call people like those what you're describing as an aware empath.
Yeah.
A self-aware empath is the most brutal form in this world, where you can feel other people's emotions. You are kind, you are compassionate, but you're very self-aware. You cannot be exploited.
And you're completely connected to yourself, right?
Yeah. Yes.
And true empathy comes through only when you can be empathetic towards yourself.
Yes.
That's when you actually understand
Yes.
experiential empathy.
Yes. Sometimes you're just so empathetic to others. You're absorbing everybody's emotions and carrying their baggage and understand. But you're not a self-aware. But an aware empath, I love being an aware empath.
Yeah. I discovered that about myself as well, just very recently, that I'm able to now be an aware empath. If I'm not mistaken, they're called dark empaths,
They're called awakened empaths.
awakened empaths. Hmm. Lovely. So you've unlearned people pleasing,
Yes.
which in my opinion is one of the most difficult things to unlearn because we are taught to thrive on validation.
Hmm.
So you're consistently working in every interaction when you are conditioned to people pleasing. It takes intense amounts of work.
Hmm.
How does this freedom feel and how has it changed things for you?
I feel like it's brought me closer to that real version of us of me that we were talking about.
The child that you miss.
Yes, the teenager that I miss, the little girl who was like unabashed and who was just doing things that she loved and did not bother. But slowly, through grades in the school, through which college did you go to, what car is your father driving, what brand are you wearing, what job did you get, we are conditioned slowly.
Yeah.
Um, and breaking that is so important, yeah, Sohini.
It's damn tough.
But it's so important. If you really want to live authentically, it's what you have to do.
Yeah. And breaking that comes with a complete unconditional acceptance of who I am. This is who I am.
Take it or leave it.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is who I am.
Yeah.
And not in a bratty teenage way. Not in a rebellious
No rebellion.
teenage way at all. In a very grounded, self-aware manner. I love it.
Yeah.
It's a very free feeling.
You know, it's so unfortunate that we are taught to be recognized by the way we brand ourselves, right? I'm a good student, brand. I'm a
Yeah.
good daughter, brand. I'm a good friend, brand. And the better you perform, the stronger your so-called brand is. And with every brand that you're forced to label yourself with, we are just pushed further and further away from ourselves. And the process of dropping those brands, that's painful because it's like it's stuck to you. So when you're yanking it off, a part of your skin may actually come out. But that pain is important and that wound is important to be able to allow that part of your skin to breathe. Have you experienced that?
Multiple times. I recently I've gone through they call it the dark night of the soul spiritually. So I went through it the last 1 year, almost about couple of months, where Sohini, I have been on stage for almost 10-15 years now.
Yeah.
Okay, since I was a student, I've been doing stage shows, tours, concerts, and this and that. I felt like it became so much of my identity that I started losing out on who I really am without that profession. So I took a conscious break for a few months. I said, I don't want to work. Let me see how I feel without going on stage.
That's scary.
Very difficult for
Very.
for a workaholic like me. I have not taken a break for more than a decade. And then I did. And it was just so liberating. I loved it. I used to wake up without a work list and without a team and without a task list. And I would go to my favorite coffee shop, sit there, watch the world go by, pass by. I would talk to strangers. I would wear my favorite t-shirt, my favorite shoes. I would go to the gym, spend some time doing yoga, come back home. And my father started getting a little worried, like,
What's happening to my
what's
daughter?
happening to her? Like, she would be touring across the world and she would never be in the city. What? and this girl is just there going to the temples and going to mandirs and going to yoga and going to coffee shops and coming back home without a purpose. But I feel like that's the purpose.
What?
The purpose is to get close to who you authentically are without the profession, without the social circle, without the branded bag that we carry, without all of that. Who are you in your most raw form?
Who are you in your most raw form?
I'm a free bird. I am a spiritual free bird. I I love exploring spirituality. I love talking to people. I love understanding the meaning of life. I love being close to God. I love all of that. That is me in my truest form. I love writing. I love poetry.
Wow.
So yeah.
I love the passion with which it's coming through.
Because I've just come back to work. It's funny, about 2 months back, I started working full-fledged and I am just so re-energized.
So you gained a part of yourself in that break.
Yeah, it was needed. If you won't do it, the universe is going to push you to. The universe is going to create roadblocks. The universe is going to make your relationships fall apart. The universe is going to give you some trauma, something. The universe is actually your friend.
Yeah.
All it's trying to do is ask you to take a pause and get closer to who you really are.
Yeah.
But what we do is we escape. We escape from feeling the pain. But you
Yeah.
got to feel it to heal it.
Absolutely. We have to feel it to heal it, and we have to allow it to come to the surface. It needs to be done in a structured way, though, with help, through a spiritual practice, a mentor, a therapist, a teacher, a guide, a friend. You can't do it alone.
You can't do it alone. You need help.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you have to drop that ego and say, hey, I need help.
Yeah.
I have a healer, like I have a guru, and I dropped my ego and I said, hey, I'm lost. I need your help. So that's step one of healing.
Yeah. It's amazing. It takes so much courage to say I need help.
Yeah.
It takes so much strength to just first of all face that part of you that's feeling fragile, accept the fragility, then build the courage to go and say, I'm not okay, I need help.
Because there's so much taboo.
Yes.
Because people around, my own best friend, I did a series on Instagram called this is my way of saying fuck you to anxiety and finding myself. Where every day I would do one thing to find myself.
Wow.
So, and all my friends back in Delhi were like, hey, you're in Bombay. Are you depressed? Are you okay? Are you going crazy? And I was like, no. I was crazy when I was there. When I was high functioning, high achieving, that was crazy. This is real. I'm taking a pause. I'm just finding who I really am.
Yeah.
And I'm totally okay. So there's a lot of taboo.
There is a huge taboo. But I think it's getting better.
Yeah, it's getting better.
Do you think the high functioning part of you was also necessary? That crazy was also required in your life to unleash a part of you that you probably had hidden, didn't know existed?
I feel like balance is so important, Sohini. I have been there. I have been the high performing kid. I have been the school topper, the college topper. I have been the high performing professional. I have done it all. And I realized that it's so important to balance your self care. It's so important to balance. Take a pause and understand, what do I need right now? Be the mother to yourself. Okay, what do I need right now? But what is my body asking of me? What is my brain asking of me? We don't generally do that.
What is my heart asking?
What is my heart asking?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the most important.
Yeah.
We generally don't do that.
Yeah, we don't.
So there has to be a balance.
Yeah.
Otherwise, the universe will intervene. And it will create a roadblock, which will ask you to stop.
But I love the intervention. I love it. I think we just need to be sharp enough to catch it before maa ke haath ka thappad. When mom says, stop, change course.
इतने अच्छे
We
नहीं
should
है ना, हम
listen.
थप्पड़ खा के ही समझते हैं ना, तो थप्पड़ तो हमें पड़ेगा ही, क्योंकि हमें आदत है, हम सोचते हैं हम जो कर रहे हैं हम ठीक कर रहे हैं, और हम भागते रहते लाइफ में, लेकिन जब हमें ऐसे थप्पड़ पड़ता है तो फिर हम
मैं तो बहुत खाती
तो
हूँ.
मैं भी बहुत
I
खाती
love it.
डोंट वरी
I'm like, I love it. Thank you. Thank you for the intervention, helping me change course, find the best version of myself. It just comes from trust and surrender.
यस यस
थप्पड़ भी मिलता है, प्रसाद भी मिलता है.
यस
You get everything.
यस
So faith. Faith has played an important role in your healing process.
Yeah.
Yes. Is there any practice that you hold on to at your times of rock bottom or self-doubt, chaos, confusion?
sadhana. I mean, it's crazy and not a lot of people know that, but I spend hours in my sadhana. I sit across God and speak for hours. I have stopped confiding in friends and family and maybe one my guru sometimes, or maybe like a closest friend, but mostly it's sadhana. Sadhana is, it might sound a little boring, but it's actually just a very cool thing to do.
Oh, it's so important.
It's just actually so important to sit there and connect with yourself and the higher power.
Yeah.
That opens up a lot of doors for you,
Yeah,
mentally and
yeah.
emotionally.
Sadhana simply said is, I'm going and touching
Inward.
base with who I am. Then I'll come to you.
Yeah.
But I'm going to first go to my source, strengthen it, and show up better. Right?
Absolutely.
It's like the key basis of everything. Sadhana and seva.
Yes.
You're also a big seva warrior.
Yes.
Yeah. You showed up as an anchor during one of the most threatening times that the world faced. There was so much fear attached to COVID that everyone thought the world's going to end. You showed up with oxygen, you showed up emotionally.
Yeah.
What makes you the person you are? I mean, for somebody to have this kind of service in their backyard, and probably, not probably, I'm sure so much more that you don't even speak about, says a lot about you as an individual who's optimistic, believes in life, wants to give back for everything that you have received. I want to understand what makes you the person you are.
My parents. I've grown up watching them serve. They've served their family with utmost grace. They've served animals around with utmost grace. So I've always seen my parents doing selfless seva, and I picked it up from them.
They didn't have to teach you, right?
No,
They just were
they led
that.
by example. Yeah, they're just great people. I mean, we're nothing in front of them. We will still click a picture, and if we're doing seva, we will still want to click a picture
Yeah.
and put it out on Instagram. But those are the real heroes. My father will feed hundreds of cows, monkeys, birds every day.
So sweet.
And unless I ask him what you're doing, he will not even tell me that he's gone to feed. He is so quiet and graceful and selfless about it.
Wow.
That is what I aspire to learn.
But don't you feel like platforms also matter? You have the platform to encourage and inspire. So if you're doing service and it's coming out there, aren't you also showing the others a pathway?
I have very mixed feelings around this. Okay. On some days, I feel like putting it out there so that I can lead by example. And my girls on my Instagram, like I have like this really strong community of girls who will just do whatever Sonam Didi does.
It's so sweet.
I want them to kind of incorporate this.
Yeah.
But then on other days, I read the Bhagavad Gita and then I feel like, oh,
What have I done?
what have I done? I'm not supposed to put charity out there. So I have mixed feelings. I'm still navigating my way through this.
Go by intuition. Sometimes we have to lead by example. And sometimes we just go by intuition and
Yes.
do what our heart says.
True.
That's the balance you were talking
Yes. Balance.
about. You need both.
True.
Otherwise, how do others learn, inspire, and grow?
True.
And you do that beautifully.
Thank you.
A person who believes in giving back to the extent to which you do, they have very different definitions of success and failure. How do you see success? And how do you see failure?
Success for me is impact. Success to me earlier, when I was like just out of college looking for a job, was more about what MNC am I going to work for and what paycheck am I going to take back home. But now, success to me is more about the impact that I'm creating in the world. What is the legacy that I'm leaving behind? Tomorrow, if I'm not here, what is people's takeaway from my life? What are they going to learn? So that to me is success. Failure to me is when you have the money, the resources, the platform, and you still fail to create impact. I'm sorry, but none of your followers and your properties and your fame matter to me. I feel like big failure.
Yeah,
Yeah. So,
impact.
impact.
We're all striving towards that in some way or the other. Either we are trying to impact ourselves, impact society.
Yeah.
It's so important to be connected to your purpose. To
You will
make an
impact yourself,
Yes.
Sohini.
Yeah.
You work for yourself, you earn for yourself, there's impact on you and your family. Great. I mean, uh, no hard feelings, good for you. What is the impact on the world that you're leaving behind?
Yeah.
That to me defines your measure of success.
That's so beautiful.
I meet a lot of people who are so successful and they live in these huge ass houses and drive the biggest of cars and they are so famous and so successful. Yet they are not changing the life of one person around them. I find it to be such a big failure. I would rather go talk to my street side vendor who's literally feeding 10 animals around him. Creating impact right there.
Yeah.
Impact is just so important.
Yeah. It's beautiful. It is
Thank you.
so beautiful. In fact, I'm going to take this back home and every night journal one thing that I did to create an impact.
Impact, yeah.
I'm going to do that every day going forward. So thank you for that.
Thank you for having me.
What is the impact that your work, philanthropic work, has on you? So you hear stories of pain, you see failures, you see success stories, and you're interacting with it on a regular basis because of the work you do behind the scenes, the seva. How does that impact you? What does it give you? And what does it take away from you?
It takes away my stress and it gives me peace. Because whenever I have given my love in all the wrong places, it's given me nothing but taken away from me. You give your love to the wrong people, to the wrong friends, to the wrong relatives, to the wrong siblings, to people whose cup you were pouring in, but they didn't really need it.
Yeah.
Just because your heart was overflowing, you were giving. And then you give it to a stranger on the street. I don't know. It could be food. It could be your time. It could be a cup of coffee. It could be an act of service. Anything. And the unconditional love that you get back from there is so real.
Yeah.
That's real love. Not the boyfriend you're chasing. So yeah.
You're chasing, not attracting. That's different.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so beautiful.
I mean, strangers on the internet, my girls will DM me their problems and I will stop my work and take out those 30 minutes and reply to them and speak to them and give them my number. This girl who I don't know, who's simply a follower. They could be anybody, but I will give them my number. Like, call me just right now. I need to sort out your problem.
Oh my God.
And that dua, So really, that dua and the love that you get there is real.
Yeah. Because that comes with no condition. It comes with no past attached to it. It comes with no ulterior motive.
Yes.
It just is in its purest form.
Yes.
Wow.
So yeah, that's what it gives me.
Lovely. You are an embodiment of voice. And it's shown through your whole life's trajectory till now. When did you lose your voice emotionally, or when did you feel unheard emotionally?
So recently, I lost my mother,
I'm so sorry to hear that.
and she was in the hospital, and it was just me and my father. And all the love she had given to hundreds of people during her lifetime, all evaded her, all ran away, and I could see none of them standing there. And I felt so emotionally shocked, you know. And I lost my emotional voice. And for some time, I was like, wow, is this even worth it? Is this what life comes to? You know, you ask those questions.
Yes.
So
You
yeah,
feel
that
betrayed and
was, you feel
abandoned.
betrayed. And I felt abandoned. And that is the time that I realized that I need a complete emotional rewiring.
And how did you rewire?
So I distanced myself from a lot of people, a lot of toxic karmic people around my family, around my, people close to me. I distanced my. Can you see?
Yeah.
So that I had literally lost my versal voice. So I distanced myself from a lot of people and went inside and also strengthened my relationship with my father. And that really kind of and of course went to therapy and did a lot of healing, did a lot of pilgrimages, and slowly I started getting back my emotional voice. Yes.
That sounds, grief is so painful. Sometimes I feel like pain is even a very underestimated word for what we go through. And it never really leaves us.
Yeah.
How are you dealing with this grief that you are carrying with you even today?
Can I tell you something? Grief is nothing but love.
Yeah. Yeah.
Love came first and grief came later. So grief is nothing but love that you cannot express to the person anymore.
Yeah.
So I do carry that love in my heart all the time, and I do honor my mom whenever, wherever, however I can.
Oh my God, that is so beautifully said.
And it just makes me feel better. And the best way to honor someone you love who's not in this realm anymore, who's transcended, is to uphold their love, their values.
Yeah.
And I run my home the way she would have liked. I put the cushions the way she would have liked. I cook the food the way she would have liked. I call up her sisters, my mamu. Even though some days I don't have the time or I don't feel like, but I still do, she would have liked it. You know?
Yeah.
Small, small things, because grief is just love.
It is. It is.
Oh.
It's connection.
Yeah.
Right? It's that cord that keeps you connected is
Yeah.
grief.
Yeah. And I kind of give love to her husband, my father. I take care of her husband. I'm like, listen, I'm doing your job. I'm doing your job. Look at this. When we meet, you will tell me you did well. So grief is just love.
In my book, I talk about the duality of losing a parent, especially a mother. I lost my mom to cancer.
I'm so sorry.
She was everything to me. And when I lost her, I felt like an entire part, like my limb had been chopped off. But I also discovered someone who I may have not discovered if she was here. And that was myself. I had to grow up. I had to show up. I had to shut down that voice that was hers because it wasn't there anymore. I had to make decisions.
Wow.
And that is such a strange duality that we live with, right? Because I would never want you to go. That's like my worst nightmare. But I also have to find out who I am. And this duality is something I want to know if you've experienced.
Wow. I never looked at it like that, but it's such a beautiful point of view.
Yeah.
So I was functioning like a man all my life. I was working, running, earning. That was my life. After mom went, I discovered my feminine side. I discovered how I want to build my home, you know, what sort of a space I want to create for me and then my children later.
Yeah.
What sort of a family do I want to create? So it brought out a lot of different sides of the woman that I am,
Yeah.
which were never there. I had given my femininity to her.
Absolutely.
That you take care of
Yes.
this. This is not my department. But when she went, I discovered all of that. I discovered मुझे कैसी बेडशीट अच्छी लगती है,
हाँ.
मुझे कौन से कप में चाय पीना पसंद है, और ये छोटी-छोटी चीज़ें जो मैंने कभी सोची भी नहीं थी अपने बारे में, started coming out. You know? And wow, it's been a journey. I
Yeah.
would say it's been a journey.
A tough one, but yet empowering in a strange way.
Yeah, empowering.
It's a very painful empowerment, right?
Yeah, very painful.
Where you just have to find your power and your strength. And it's something you don't want to do.
Yeah.
But you have to.
Yeah.
And we all have to at some point. So may as well do it through
Yeah.
the connection of love called grief. Wow. Sonam, you gave a part of yourself to your mother. I want to hear that story from you. I don't want to say more.
So, so when my mom was diagnosed with liver cirrhosis, the doctor said that she needs a transplant. मैंने कभी ये word भी नहीं सुना था, transplant होता क्या है. The first time I heard it, I crashed. I was like, oh, this also happens. And then उन्होंने बोला कि कोई family member ही liver दे सकते हैं. And my father couldn't because after 50 you cannot donate.
Yeah.
Your liver is not healthy enough. So you need like a young person with a healthy liver. My brother had already passed away. And my sister-in-law and all my cousins and brothers, everybody just ran away. Like they did not take responsibility. They totally, entirely abandoned the situation. And I stepped up without thinking twice. And I went to the ICU as a healthy person. And I underwent a 16-hour surgery. And it wasn't easy. I had forgotten to walk. So even today on your podcast, I came holding my heels in my hand because you might find it funny. Do I go to stage and everywhere and I do ramp walks, but I'm still learning to walk in heels.
That's because of your surgery.
That's because of my surgery. And it creates so much, and it has created so much change in my body. I gained weight, I lost weight. My body underwent so much. My mind underwent so much. But I would do it again without thinking, within a breath for her. Because like I said, grief is love.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
And you lost your mom after that.
Yes. I lost my mom a couple of months after that. For the couple of months I lived with her after the transplant, I would do it again any day.
Were you still physically healing when you lost your mom?
Yeah.
I can't even imagine how hard it may have been for you to actually heal on a physical level and then lose her. I mean, that kind of grief is just unimaginable. It's mammoth. And it takes a lot of inner strength to climb out of this kind of a rock bottom. And you've done it. And it so clearly represents the kind of work you put in to find your ground again. And it's also so inspiring because when I lost my mom, I felt like that's it, like my life is over now.
Yeah, same.
You know? And then you come out of it and you learn that it never ends. You never ever reach a dead end. There's always a way out.
Also, I want to add to that. As somebody in the public eye, it's even more difficult, Sohini.
Yeah.
Because you're judged for everything.
Yeah.
प्रेयर मीट के कितने दिन बाद आप काम पे गए हो, कितने दिन बाद आप ड्रेसअप होना शुरू हो गए, I was judged for even that. Well, I'm healing personally. Physically, I'm healing. I have lost my parent, my primary parent, I have lost.
Yeah.
Here, I'm trying to get back to work, to feel sane, to feel better about
Yeah.
myself. And I'm being judged on that also. I hit rock bottom. I was like, wow, I cannot take this anymore. And I moved to Bombay. Thankfully, I got like a great project here, which took a couple of months and took me out of Delhi and put me here. And I never went back. I was like, I love it here. There are no judgments. It's very cool.
Yeah, Mumbai is amazing, isn't it?
Mumbai is, I mean, I love Delhi. Delhi is all heart. All
Yeah.
my best friends are there. Sorry to you guys. But Bombay is just so non-judgmental. It's so free. I mean, people don't judge each other. In Delhi, we judge a lot. Bagal wala kya kar raha hai? We are just so hell-bent on checking on our neighbors and friends what they're
Wow.
doing. Leave them alone sometimes. You know, just let it be. Give people the time to heal, come back. But I feel like that's also a price you pay of being in the public eye.
Yeah. And I also feel like people are focused on you because they don't want to focus on themselves. Right? So if I am occupied calling out your flaws and gossiping about you, then I don't need to look within. I don't need to address the things that I have put under my carpet.
Yeah.
My mistakes, my shame, my emotional wounds, because I'm focused on you. So
Because
I'm so
when we're
busy.
gossiping, we're only projecting.
Absolutely. We're only projecting. And this is also one of the bases of cancel culture, right? You're not focused on yourself, and canceling you makes me the good one.
Makes me feel good about myself.
Yes. Yes.
People who are genuinely feeling good about themselves will never cancel the other person.
They will not.
Ever.
They will not. They'll either see reason behind what's happening or they'll step away. They won't turn into a chain.
No, they won't.
Yeah. Self-work is the basis of everything. Talking about self-work, what did you do and how did you come out of that rock bottom that you hit when you were being judged by external forces and the public eye?
My Instagram community was really helpful and supportive. I really want to thank them. Strangers on the internet helped me, my people didn't. So strangers on the internet, girls and boys I didn't know were grieving with me. You won't believe, Suni, there was this set of girls, thanks to them, I don't know them, they don't know me, we've never met each other. They would stay up with me all night when I was having sleepless nights, checking on me. Have you slept, Sonamdi? Have you put a story? We haven't seen anything from you. Are you okay? How's dad? Give us dad's number. We'll come home to check on him.
Wow.
My closest friends didn't.
Look at the irony of life sometimes.
The irony. And I changed my entire circle. Okay, I'm a chameleon like that. I switch. If I feel like I'm not vibing, I switch quickly. And it has nothing to do with being rude or you know, all my friends say, oh, you become so successful, so you've changed. No. It's not about success. It's about personal development.
Self-preservation?
And protecting my energy. Self-preservation, like you said. So I was like, I need to protect my energy and be around better people. So to start with, I started cleansing my circle. And I'm very, very ruthless with that. Not you, not you, not you. You, okay, maybe. You, maybe, yeah. Your energy is good. So I'm very, very clear like that. I started auditing my entire circle and I started seeing who are the people who are inspiring me, who are supporting me, who are helping me navigate grief, and who are not. If you're not, you're out. That really helped. And then I went on this healing journey. I created a sacred morning routine. Like the first 2 hours in the morning were only about me and writing and
Yeah.
journaling and slow mornings and affirmations, going for a walk, being alone, writing letters to my mom, you know,
Wow.
all that really helped me
It's
let out.
catharsis, right?
Yeah,
It
it's like,
releases.
yeah, it felt a lot better. Changing my city really helped me.
Yeah.
I met people here, they were new people, they were not asking me, hey, what happened? Are you okay? How did you go to work just 15 days after she died? Nobody spoke all that. And these were new conversations that I was having. So it was really therapeutic. Yeah, so it's been a process.
Self-awareness.
Yes, yes.
You intuitively gave yourself exactly what you needed, stage by stage, step by step.
I have to tell you the story. My mother has passed 6 months down the line. I go to this friend's birthday and I am in between 100 odd people. I'm just back from Cannes. They all want to take a picture with me, put a story with me. And I'm standing there feeling frozen, numb. And I'm like, I don't belong here. None of these people care about how I'm feeling inside.
Yeah.
And I went home, switched off my phone, and I cried for an hour. And the next day, I started auditing my circle and who has access to my energy. And it helped me so much.
This is the intervention that I love. When life just intervenes, puts you in a situation and says,
Yes,
look, baby,
now's the time.
now is the time. Amazing.
Yeah.
Talking about Cannes, your outfit represented rising from the ashes. You were the phoenix. We've spoken about a lot of moments where you've come out of the ashes and you've spread your wings. What actually made you, what part of your heart made you choose that?
Because it represented my journey. And also, like the time that I was going to Cannes this year, the whole situation in Kashmir had broken out.
Yeah.
In Pahalgam had broken out.
Yes.
I literally thought that I will not be able to go because airports had started closing slowly and situation was getting tense. And Rising from the Phoenix was also about my country.
Beautiful.
It was also about, because I go to Kashmir at least once, twice a year. I love that place. And I called up some friends there and they told me that no, things are getting back and people are trying to get back on track and tourists are also now supporting us. And I felt it was so beautiful how those people who've seen their brothers and sisters being shot right in front of them literally have the courage to then next day go back, open up their shop. That's hope and human life.
Yeah.
Such a big example. And
It's resilience, right?
resilience. And I drew my inspiration from that.
Incredible.
Yeah.
How lovely. And did you feel like a phoenix when you came back home?
I don't know. Yeah, I did, because the news channels that I grew up watching were all standing outside my home in Mumbai.
You look
my
beautiful.
little-
Yeah.
My little apartment in Mumbai, which I had made as like a safe space, a cute little space for myself, literally had journalists from all over standing there and wanting to talk to me. And I was breathless. I didn't have the time. I'm giving interview after interview. It was
Wow.
beautiful.
What did your inner child say to you at that point?
My inner child was beaming with pride.
The girl who took the mic for the first time, what
My
did she
inner child
say?
was like, girl, you did well.
Well done. And what did you say back to her?
You know, I told her that, little Sonam, I have become the woman who I wanted and needed when I was little. You know, I have finally become the woman that little girl needed.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Such a feeling of support to be able to say that to yourself, right? You're completely rooted within yourself to say, look, I have become that now. and we're okay.
Yeah.
And we'll do well. And in moments that we're not okay, we'll still do well. Because now I'm able to be what you needed me to be. And so many of us spend our lives chasing to become that version of ourselves. A lot of times we don't even know we're chasing that. It's our own void, it's our own need for support, it's our own need to feel grounded, safe, and secure. And we look for it externally. And we don't ever find it because it's here. And you have found it. And congratulations
Thank you.
on that.
I'm still on my way. I'm trying my best.
We always are. We always are on our way, and we're always trying our best, and we're always a work in progress. But when you've hit that ground, you've hit that ground. And you're there. And no matter what happens, you're okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I was handling all those interviews and the trolling and the appreciation. Everything all alone in a new city without
Yeah.
my mom.
Yeah.
I was very proud.
That's power.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that's power.
Well done, Sonam. That is your crowning glory.
Thank you.
Yeah. If you had to give hope or strength to anyone out there who's struggling with grief, not being able to find their own light, what would you say to them? What's the Sonam anchor that you would give to the audience right now?
I would tell them to hang on. Because no matter how preachy and cliche it sounds, but there's always light at the end of the tunnel. I promise you.
Yeah.
When there's a dark night, I promise you there's going to be dawn. And you might not be able to see it right now, and you might be struggling, and you might be down there. And you know, people around you will take pleasure in your pain. But I promise you, if you go through this process, when you get up, it's going to be worth it.
How beautiful.
Yeah.
So don't let anyone ever cancel you.
Never.
Don't cancel yourself.
You have to first not cancel yourself. Nobody can cancel you till you cancel yourself.
Incredible. So when I am tired of working on my healing is exhausting.
Yes.
It's you have to constantly keep facing your demons, your fears, your shame, and you have to be so mindful. And sometimes you just want a break and you want to chill. And I don't even feel like drawing. I enjoy art. And I don't feel like doing yoga. I go partying. And I party for days on end. And I come out of it happy, light, playful, ready to work on my healing or whatever needs to be addressed on an emotional level again. What do you do? That's fun, but still therapeutic for you.
I used to party a lot. But in the last 1 year, I gave up drinking. And I gave up going to clubs a lot. I go coffee shop hopping
Interesting.
with my friends. Like, I will take a day off and I will just hop across cafes around the city. I love that. I love to shop.
I too love my shopping.
I go book a spa, do a wellness day.
Lovely.
I do a nice catch-up session with a girlfriend and just went. And that's a party. मेरी सहेली मैं और चाय ये भी तो एक पार्टी है ना.
Sweet. आपकी सहेली आप और आपका matcha.
Yeah, मेरा matcha. Everybody knows about my matcha addiction.
Lovely. I love my black coffee.
Yeah, black
Can't
coffee
do
is great.
without it. I need to wake up to
It's
black
great.
coffee. Yeah. So sounds like fun. Coffee shop hopping with your friends, chatting, a day. Yeah. Lovely.
My life has been a party, Sohini. I have partied with all possible actors and artists across the world and done concerts and done the biggest of live shows and been at IFA and been at film fairs through the years, and I have partied. I have done my share of partying.
Yeah.
I now have changed my definition of partying.
As long as you're feeling happy, high
Happy.
on energy,
Whatever gives you happiness.
we have a ritual. It's the self-love card.
Wow.
And the intention is to encourage you to do an act of self-love and then pass it on and encourage the next person to do an act of self-love.
I love it. Thank you so much.
You are most
This is such a
welcome.
beautiful ritual.
Yeah, just to create like a chain of self-love and self-care.
Love
Go
this.
within.
So close to my heart. Thank you.
Thank you. And we have a little crowning gesture from
That's
us.
not little, that's huge.
Yes, but you deserve this and more.
Thank you.
And it's a gesture from us, a gesture of gratitude and a big congratulations for everything that you have achieved
Thank you so much.
and everything that you have shared and anchored me and the listeners in such a beautiful way.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much. Thank you. Thank you for having me.